Need to
Yep.
check on something.
Go right ahead. But
Did
yeah.
we do the Twitter thing?
Yeah, I already did that. It's out. But yeah, no. It's been definitely a week, and hopefully soon I will have a means to watch Deadpool 3.
Still haven't seen the second one though.
I recommend it. Also, we are now live. So
Oh damn! I was just about to dox myself too.
I'm glad. Sorry.
It's not, you have to stop doing that. Like you love doxing yourself when you're not on camera. One day it's
I
going to
know.
happen.
I know.
You wouldn't commit a crime.
Just admit
Is
that you don't
doxing
stop.
yourself a crime?
Technically,
Well, yeah, technically.
it's just
Is it?
well, no. You still commit the crime, but it's one of those crimes that someone has to prosecute you for, and the only person who doxes someone who basically, unless you're going to charge yourself, you're fine. Now, what people do
Sounds like,
after
like shooting myself. So it's like shooting
Oh.
myself in the foot and someone somehow having the cops on my door, like angry about it.
Auto prosecution.
I'm sure that's somebody's fetish.
you beat me to it, Zan. But yeah, no. I would definitely say the second Deadpool movie much better than the first, but it's a little more scatterbrained story-wise. Also, the
What
director's
I've been,
cut.
what I've been hearing about the third one is that it's really like mm, not continuing is not the word. Anyway, it's really like relevant to current Marvel discussions. So I've heard people like saying, "I don't know how this is going to age," but right now I hear a lot of jokes hitting like the current Marvel status.
Hmm.
But I haven't seen it. It's what I've been hearing.
Well, luckily, Deadpool and Wolverine are broad Marvel characters, so as long as they're not sticking to the current stuff for X-Men, which I know is really bad right now, I think they'll be fine. They need to stop taking the X-Men in drastic directions and just tell better stories instead of being like, now they are their own sovereign nation with literally no sense of death.
I mean, X-Men '97. I don't know if you watched it. Is pretty damn good.
It's on my list of things, that, like, Cape Crusader and a bunch of, like, recent shit.
They handle what you had just said, but I feel a lot better.
I mean, yeah, they do the Krakoa arc. Well, one of them. The thing is that they Marvel recently went back there, and that's the one like Bon is complaining about, not the classic Krakoa arc.
Well, I'm not even so much complaining about it, because I liked a few, like, books that were in the very early start of that, but, my issue is that they just kind of, they wrote themselves in a corner by creating a utopia, and then they had to find ways to, like, make it work as a government, and then when that didn't work, they just kept piling up stuff that they needed to fix, and again, also interacting with the rest of Marvel, it just made a giant clusterfuck by the end of it. But yeah, do we want to start going around the horn?
Sure.
No.
Oh well, very well.
1, 2, 3, not it.
Not it.
I have to go with the
Hi there,
instant trick.
you can find. I was going there. Can't believe you have no patience. Anyway, yeah, I'm Cedric. You can find me pretty much everywhere at Cedric King. Everywhere being a lot of places, like Blue Sky, Twitter, still down on Instagram, Tumblr, etc., etc. Currently quite busy, so commissions are still on hold. Hopefully within August I will have a new like batch of slots to work with, but right now a lot on the table. But other than that, you have me here every other Sunday playing as Humphrey for our lovely Domains of Dread game, and this coming Tuesday I am also here playing as Midas for our Pack Tactics game, our all world game where we are trying to deal with weird fish people that make weird things into existence because they can, because they are fish orcs.
No, I just love that in that game, I finally was able to be the one to turn puns against everyone. You now know how I feel every time you do it!
You don't have to take every chance for a pun.
Listen,
Just most.
what we learned about the Kuatoa is they are very stupid. And again, I would not put it past them to manifest bad turns of phrases into stuff. Plus, we had a tree with a mouth on it. Yes, I'm going to make a bark is worse than its bite reference.
Fine. But yeah, that is pretty much everything I have going. So I'm throwing it to our lovely DM Zeris. You.
No.
Yes.
Damn it.
Uh-huh.
Hello, friends. You can find me all over the internet at TixDixel, where I'm doing stuff and things. And more stuff and things. This month, you will not find me on Saturdays doing No No Love War Extra because my job decided that I needed to fly all over the country and work on Saturdays this weekend, this coming week, and then yeah, pretty much until September, pretty much every weekend that we do No No Love War Extra, I have to fly out and do adult things. So unfortunately, you won't see me until September. But I will be here DMing this game and putting this batch of goons through stuff and things and horrors galore and social situations, which we're going to probably see here soon. With that, I'm gonna throw it over to Zan.
Hey, gang, certified goon here. You
Real
can find
goon
me. Yeah, I'm sure that will won't be clipped out of context. You can find me tomorrow over on my channel, twitch.tv/ZanosGrim. I don't know if I'm going to be streaming at noon or at 7 p.m. PST, but I'm going to be streaming something tomorrow. Depends on who gets back to me and what's available. Aside from that, Tuesdays, you can expect the same old Halo Lasso streams over on twitch.tv/EverBosco at around 6 p.m. PST if you want to see some Halo 5 Lasso nonsense. Wednesday, we might be doing some more Chained Together over on my channel at 7 p.m. PST if you're into that sort of chaos gremlin energy. Thursday, over at twitch.tv/MontyGlue at 7 p.m. PST, you can find me doing Dungeon of the Mad Mage. We had a really, really good session last session. So I'm looking forward to seeing what comes next after that. And I think that's me. So I will bequeath the skull of speaking to one Burnout Vaughn.
Why, thank you. And you've already found me here at twitch.tv/BurnoutVaughn. You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Blue Sky at Burnout Vaughn, and over on Patreon at Burnout's Bar. Stuff will happen there soon. Aside from that, no stream tomorrow. We still are getting things together to get the art ready for Wizard Sibs Plays, but we are still getting ready to play Resident Evil 6, so keep on the lookout for that. But Tuesday, like we said, we've got Pack Tactics, and now we are going to the mountains. I'm looking forward being the heaviest member of the party there. But then, we have, like we said, No No Love War Extra, where we finally have gotten past Passion Lip. What new horrors will the game put upon us? Well, actually, we know exactly the horror it'll put upon us, but we don't know how weird she's going to be. But with that out of the way, it's time for us to play our lovely theme song to get us in the spirit of the game.
For a second there, I was worried I was.
No,
hallucinating.
I'm resisting the urge to read this in the most snobbish voice that I can personally muster. We are getting fewer and fewer usable alternative names for flunkies. Henchman is too gendered, and hench people just doesn't have a nice ring to it. You can't say minion without thinking of little yellow guys, and don't even get me started on the word goon.
Perfect.
That's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Well, with that, Sarah, do you want to take us away?
Sure! Sure, it's not Zan's cold reading, it's mine that ends up getting broadcasted.
Let's go.
As per usual, which of the three of you would like to start us off with a recap?
I believe I still have my inspiration. I don't know if anyone else want to go for it. Yeah, I have mine yet.
I think I did the one before you, and we had Arkolf do the one last time.
I can go for it. So, when last we left our fun adventure within the darkness of the domains of dread, we found ourselves in a skeletal mass where we had to fight as best we could against the undead. We had an additional assistance from our friend Barhu, who was quite instrumental in making sure that we were able to defeat these very bizarre undead. But when placed before a particularly difficult puzzle of a lantern and a heart, we were able to avoid any more, I suppose, danger to our immediate travels until finally we found a unhallowed cult ground that we had promptly burned to the ground, or destroyed rather. The cult is still somewhat mysterious in terms of what it is, because they are a cult with no name. I believe that is their title name, which impossible to trademark, but there we go. Then from there, we were able to get some form of rest before finally, when we left the area that we were in, this like sort of strange cave, if I recall, the mist that we had initially ran away from had passed by us. From there, we continued to travel until finally we reached a place called Melancholy, I believe. And there we said our farewells to Juji and Barhu before entering a tavern, I think. That is the end of my notes.
That is all that I have as well, for the most part.
Let's go.
I have nothing more to add other than things that I would like to yes and myself from the previous session. So, which the only thing I think I will add is that Barhu left out with a bit of a twist, bit of a bang, and a warning for the three of you.
True.
And that was the reminder that not all lycanthropes. And then proceeded to reveal himself as a werebear before sauntering off. And it was at that point that we decided to reconvene, focusing on the inn at hand, of which you have not actually entered yet, which is a great opportunity for me to inform you a little bit more in depth, as we are no longer speed running towards a save point, so to speak. The building itself is rather simplistic. I previously had mentioned that this town kind of gives that it's a bit more well off, shall we say, than the previous smaller town that you were at. However, it still has that feel of it has that feel of like not necessarily like complete impoverishment, but definitely like the folks that are here are not necessarily on the side of wealth. And notably, as you look around as well, there are a couple of things that catch your eye, and I'll go ahead and take this opportunity to ask for a perception check. Just kind of looking immediately at your surroundings, getting a better view from last session.
Will do.
12.
That's a 25 for me.
10.
And while we're here, does everyone want to give me a sound check?
Sound check.
It is me, Zan. I am making sounds at the appropriate range.
I can hear it though.
Oh, you mean, oh god, music. Oh, my bad.
Ah, right. That. You know what? My bad. Yeah, I hear it.
Excellent. So first and foremost, Rosvan and Branson. Obviously, Humphrey, you noticed this too, but I'm going to start from the lowest and work my way up.
Mm-hmm.
You all collectively noticed something that again, as you were laser focused on getting to where you needed to be, and for lack of a better word, following the O'Shiny that was your new friend. Now that you're here, and you're actually able to get your bearings and take a look around you, there is something that strikes you as a bit interesting, and that is the fact that there are, it is not a big city. It is still a smaller village. It is a bit bigger, to note, obviously, than the previous small, tiny village that you were in. But the thing about Melancholy is that there is a clear discrepancy of class between some of these buildings. You see some buildings that, like I said, they're not necessarily the most rich or well off, but they're clearly sturdily built. And they're functioning and they're open. Again, having, as I mentioned before, that sort of Renaissance feel of that townhouse look. Even some of the shops maintain that sort of feel. And yet some of the buildings, as I previously mentioned, some of them clearly being either townhouses where people would live or former shops that have been boarded up, empty, and, for lack of a better word, devoid of life and light. Not quite rotting. Not quite, shall we say, on the verge of crumbling. Still standing firm, but condemned. And for those of you thinking of the joke, no, they cannot change their ways. Other buildings that you note seem to be completely untouched. It's sort of this kind of stark contrast that, again, even as low as a 10 perception is going to catch your attention. But Humphrey, there's a pattern that you notice as you kind of sweep your eyes around, and of course you don't get to see every building around you, but there is something that you noticed. One on the inn in front of you, the Long Claw Inn. But also you look down the road, your eye falling upon what appears to be a general wares shop. And both wooden doors have a symbol, not just etched, but burned into the front of the door, deliberately. And both of these buildings appear to be standing unharmed, without any semblance or inkling of leaning towards a more ramshackle disposition. But nevertheless, you three stand in front of the Long Claw Inn.
As we were walking through town, what was the general reception we've seen from the from the locals. Humphrey especially is curious about that because he's been like it's not a like standard thing. Is right now
Right.
he's a tiny blob.
As I mentioned last session, many
Mhm.
stare in awe as obviously they are looking at creatures that do not belong here. But to note, one thing in particular that I mentioned last session as well is the fact that there are few people that are just merely walking about. It's not necessarily that the place itself is devoid of people. It's not um, a ghost town per se, but it seems that many people aren't just out and about wandering. Um, but those who do catch your eye, those that you notice, Humphrey,
Mhm.
either have that sort of like staring, almost shying away sort of sense to them. These people you immediately notice to be more common folk. But then there are a couple, as I previously mentioned, and Razvan in particular recognized this look in their eye. The look of an artist who has met their muse, who has become suddenly inspired by the presence of something new and invigorating in their life. And no one comes up to approach, no one creates a closure between you and them, all keeping their distance, either creating a further gap or simply just making note of you and going along their merry way. Well, I say merry. One other thing I will note, because you have a 25, Humphrey, is there seems to also be a discrepancy between those who are merry and those who are more neutral, if not downtrodden. Not all is as it seems, and you can tell that immediately without even doing an insight check.
Well, until we can find Onyx, we might as well get a room for the night. And he'll just start heading towards the tavern.
At the very least, is
I
good that
can
we
certainly. Oh, go ahead.
at the very least, it's good that we finally made our way to some place at least a little more safe than what we found so far.
And I could certainly use a drink. How about you?
Alright, well,
Hmm.
Branson will push open the door and enter the tavern.
Are you going to the tavern or are you going to the inn? There are two separate buildings.
Ah. We gotta stop making that is a 2-in-1 deal. But yeah, he will instead
Who is
head...
we?
I like drinking until I pass out, okay? It's convenient when they're together.
I know! That's why I do that at home.
Well, and it doesn't help to note the fact that down the way further is, as you have been told, a concert hall. So the concert hall is at the very end, as you've been made aware by Barhu. There's a tavern and then there's an inn. So the pathway from one to the other is a straight line with gaps in between.
I wouldn't be surprised if you told me that one of the stores that's closed down was a liquor store that just couldn't keep up.
Would you like to roll to check?
Sure!
Perception check.
Roll for failed business.
20?
Sure. Yes. It is a again, it's not quite downtrodden. It's not reached the point of ramshackle, but it is a shop that says of barley and wheat.
Hmm.
And it appears to be some type of liquor store that is no longer functioning, and it is boarded up.
It is like my old cabin master used to tell me. Location, location, location. And that's why we were a caravan.
Well, do we want to rest now or get a drink?
I, looking around, people don't seem to be out and about. I don't think securing a room would be all that complicated if you want to go to the tavern first. I mean,
No, it would be nice to get the lay of the land. Usually that's most easiest to find at the point of most libations.
I shall follow.
Branson will follow too, so I guess we're going to the bar.
All right, so you proceed to go down the road. And you reach this fork in the road. You vaguely have an idea of where you need to go. As I said, it's kind of a straight line, and you can tell. But at this point, I would like to draw your attention to a few other things of note. As Barhu had mentioned, if you actually take a left down this road, you will notice a building deliberately made different, constructed differently from all of the other buildings. One made of stone and mire, almost overtaken entirely by vinage. And you'll quickly note that on the wooden arch door, it kind of has like a Gothic arch almost to it. There is a symbol that you notice.
Hmm.
Give me a second. What are we doing? Why are we already out of battery? Stop that.
Oh no.
Get some help. You notice a particular carving on the door. Again, seems to be like etched, like burnt into the door itself. And it is, you immediately notice like a tree stump that appears to be covered in ivy. You collectively have the sneaking suspicion that this is in fact the Nature's Guild, as Barhu mentioned. And taking a second look, sizing it up, you do recognize that the size of the building and the shape of the door and all of those different detailed pieces really do indicate that this building was made for creatures of a variety of sizes. As that is not a humanoid sized door. That is a door that could easily fit a bear into it. To your right, sorry, you notice there's another building that catches your eye. This one, much larger, but more in a sort of wider sense rather than tall. It is clearly made from a combination of like hide tarps and wood stokes and very carefully weaved um, draperies rather than the standard permanent tile buildings that you would see around. And there's a uh, tiny little sign that's stuck into the ground with a stake outside of it, and it's labeled the indoor outpost. As you continue straight along the path, finding yourself in front of a couple of different buildings. For one, you see a oddly shaped house. It's not a mansion or anything extravagant in a rich sort of sense of the term, but it's more like, you ever go down a street, right? And all of a sudden there's that one house that's slightly older than the others that you could just tell has a different era of architecture to it.
Sure.
Yeah. It strikes you as odd. There's no signage to it. But you can clearly tell in the way that it is stained, like the wood is stained, and the usage, the combination of what appears to be wood and stone on this building immediately catches your eye. You're not sure why. You don't know exactly what it is besides the obvious architectural difference that makes it different. And of course, I will add as well the the inclusion of, again, the sort of Gothic arches that just very, very much give it an older sense, an older feeling to it. In the windows and the doors, you see columns as well that are carved out of wood, as if the columns themselves are holding up a second floor, acting almost as if it's a canopy above where you can see the front door would be. Again, very weird in comparison to all of the other houses that you have come across and all of the other stores you have come across. And almost at a diagonal across from it, you see what I could only describe to you as a normal sized 2-story building, but with these giant metal almost tankards attached to the outside of the building. Like they seem to be coming up from inside the building, poking out through the roof. Almost, dare I say it, in a way that feels almost industrial but not. And outside of this building, you see a a metal raised sign instead of engraved that says Pawnee's Brewery. And you get the distinctive feeling that this is the tavern that you were talking about.
That's rather nice brewery. Gets the ale straight from the source, no?
Might be
Rosvan
taste.
will walk up to try and open the door.
You're able, it's actually, interestingly enough, it's got a push to it. And Humphrey, you notice
Mhm.
that this wooden door does not have a symbol engraved on the front.
Mhm.
It is
Humphrey will
just a
make
wooden
note
door.
of that.
But you open it, and sure enough, there are several people in this place. You see a couple of tables, each one with a candlelit lantern centered on it. You see um, no stage, no bard stage, no place for entertainment, so to speak. You do see what appears to be a notice board, as there is often wont to be in a tavern and a place of gathering. You see, it's not even like your standard bar. It's like in the center of the room is just this like bar circle with like cabinets in the actual bar and like overhanging things. You see this individual, um this this appears to be this middle-aged human woman with like darker skin. She has what appear to be twists that are all pulled up and wrapped in some type of like scarf or bandana. The bandana itself, um, it has rather earthy tones to it, and it looks like it's been worn. It doesn't really necessarily look dirty or um or downtrodden again or tattered. It just looks like it's older, that it's been well used and well loved. She carries herself with this sort of almost stoic and confident demeanor as she seems to be in this moment, um, with this giant barrel of ale hoisted up on one of the counterparts, counterpieces, like sections, if you will, seems to be actually pouring a mug of ale at that exact moment in time as you step in. It's notable because it's in the center of the room, and you see along one of the back walls, farthest away from this front door, for starters, you see a door with a sign that says employees only on it. And next to it, you see, actually, unironically, a bunch of these like individual counter spaces with like holes in the wall right next to them, where you get the distinct sense that these are sort of used to help with the wait staff, as you watch as a flap opens up and a basket full of bread slides out from this little hole in the wall. And you see another person, much shorter than this bartender. Um, you get the sense that they're still humanoid, but they're much smaller, much more petite in size and in stature, and they sort of just scurry up to where that basket of bread slid through, pick it up, and they walk over to one of the tables that actually happens to have someone sitting at it. And to note, you notice 3 different tables in particular. I'm sorry, 4 different tables in particular that happen to have people sitting at them. Uh, you see a duo um, sitting at one table, both of them marked particularly their by the sort of, shall we say, dressy for show coats that they both wear. Um, you see that both of them have this sort of charismatic sort of demeanor, this air amongst them. You see as well a woman clearly of wizened but indeterminable age. She seems to be holding a mug to herself, almost like to her chest, but not quite, as she's hunched over, and seems to be. I'll go ahead and carry this over for both Branson and Humphrey. You almost hear like a soft humming coming from this woman, as she seems to be wearing plain clothes. At another table, you notice a duo, one of which kind of looks incredibly ordinary, and in fact, their demeanor almost looks too normal. Of which I'm gonna give this one to Razvan. If you would like to roll an insight check.
All right. 13.
Something about that person seems off. You can't quite pinpoint what it is. Again, they seem too normal, but even that normal as in unnoticeable, in that sense of so plain that you could have just passed over them and you wouldn't even notice. And yet it's off. It's so off. You can't pinpoint what it is, but you can just tell there's something off about that. The person sitting across from him at the table, actually munching away at what appears to be some type of sandwich and a bowl of soup, is this like very well built, stocky man. Um, just wearing what I can only describe as like common folk, like farmers attire. Like this like a laborer's attire almost. Like that's a person that clearly is dirty. Like their shirt and their slacks are just covered in grime and are probably even stained from work. Uh, something about the way that he holds himself, and you can hear him laugh with this bellowing laugh, strikes you as odd, strikes you as interesting, especially in a town that seems to have these polar opposites. And the last table you notice um, is a gentleman. He's not even fully sitting at the table, dressed casually in a brown vest, but you notice the red bandana that is tied at his arm, and a pair of, and a pair of actually colored navy pants. But he seems to be staring at the ground, lost, almost like he's dissociating, as he holds in one of his hands a mug of beer. These are the people that you see in this inn. Or, sorry, tavern. Now you've got me doing it.
That's what I do. In fact, I
Anywhere's
go
an
find-
inn if you try hard enough.
No, anywhere's an inn if
With
they don't have
enough
a bouncer.
alcohol. With enough alcohol and enough time.
But yeah, Branson will leave the social interactions and investigating to the other two people with brains. He's just going to head over to that notice board and just see if there's anything that hops out.
Really quickly before I jump into that, Razvan and Humphrey, what are you two doing?
Keeping a cautious eye, Rosvan's gonna move to try and find where he could purchase a drink or three.
Your best bet is probably the woman at the circular bar in the center of the room.
He will approach her, assuming she's not seemingly too busy.
She seems to be preparing a couple drinks, but from just a look, it doesn't look like a busied sort
What's
of like.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it's not really busy sort of movements. It's more like someone who's just kind of casually like in a lull, like when the hours at work are, shall we say, slow, and you're filling the time as you're doing tasks. It's kind of giving that energy.
Okay. What seems to be the most common drink that people are drinking here?
Well, you see a bunch of mugs of ale for starters, but you do notice one of the individuals, the two some of the brightly colored jackets, which I don't think I mentioned this before. One of them is in a bright scarlet red jacket, and the other one is in like this turquoise blue. And the one in the red seems to be holding what appears to be some type of like a cocktail glass, like one of those domey round ones that don't really have a stalk to them. And they seem to be drinking some type of what looks almost like a peachy sort of like yellowy sort of translucent drink. The other one in a similar glass is got something that it's not, but it looks like chalky milk.
Hell yeah, we're here for chalky milk.
Yeah.
I suppose, kind of looking around, does he see that the chalky milk looking, I'm going to assume some kind of grog, is more available for purchase? Because he'll just try to order one of those, I suppose.
As you approach the bar, you notice that there is a notebook of sorts, like a leather-bound book, sitting on the countertop with golden filigree that says the word menu at the top.
Oh, amazing. Then he will open that thing up.
You see both food and drink for starters. You see a big bold notice that says ask us about our ales. You get the sense just from reading that it's probably based on whatever they have in house rather than import. And then you see a couple of different wine choices. You see that there is a um gosh, you're gonna all right, let's see how well I do this. You see, I think that it's a rosé. You see
Oh, rosé every day. We're ordering that.
okay. You see an option for a white and a red. You also see under a couple options for different types of liquors with chasers. And then you also see a variety of different mixed drinks. You see one called the Sunrise, which appears to be a very fruity drink. You can make the assumption that it is probably what the yellowy, peachy colored drink was. You do actually see one that is called that is called um, the Miner's Delight. And it is described as this very it's basically like Irish cream, a bit of chocolate, some strawberry to it, and there was something else and I forgot what it is. It's fine. Um, that is probably what the other person was drinking at the table. You also see there is a sort of like a um it's called swamp grass. And it's this very like um it's this me trying to describe liquor and I don't even drink. It's this very harsh, like you get like like you get essentially like a shot and then you chase it with something better. Sort of situation. Um I'm really bad at describing this. I'm so sorry, guys.
No, you're right.
Um So you kind of see like a variety of different options here. And then for food, obviously there you see options for soups. One specific type of soup, it's like a potato cheese soup and a beef question mark stew. Um, it says don't ask if you don't want to know. You see that they have a couple of options for like some hot and some cold sandwich type situations. It does say check to see if we have it first. And then you see predominantly a lot of foods that are like in a section that says in-house, you see a lot of what almost feels like gourmet hunter's food. So like things that could be foraged out in the woods, but like added with a lot of spices and additional extra pieces to make it seem a little bit less camping, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Lots of options. I'm so sorry.
No, it's quite all right. I'm trying to think of what would be best to blend in, and it's really funny to try and think of the drinking rosé as a dampier, but I'm probably gonna have Razvan order the sort of Irish creamed chocolate strawberry concoction, as he at least sees that a few other people are drinking it. Um, then he'll order a sort of stiff. You know, he'll order a rosé as well for Humphrey, and then order kind of a stiff ale for Branson.
Okay.
For Spartan, you will
The
notice that since we have arrived to town, Humphrey is sticking really close to you, basically because he's almost trying to hide himself with your cape. Like the only thing stopping him for just getting under your cape is a
His
sense
cake.
of like dignity.
You mean his cake?
He's
Got it.
yes, you can hide that. It's just no, but he is really nervous. Like this is another change of like drastic change of circumstances, and even if he was looking forward to getting to somewhere with people, now he's faced with the anxiety. Is like, well, he's trained to try to blend in, to not stand out, and now he's finding out he's coming to terms with that. Yeah, he can't avoid that because of what he is right now.
But people have been more or less not reacting to you, from what I thought, at least from the descriptions
That
about Humphrey.
that doesn't stop him from being
Yeah, fair
anxious
enough.
about it.
Uh, he'll kind of offer a seat for Humphrey at the bar, and will take one himself. What troubles you, my friend?
I he will like you will see how he will stretch his arms and just pull himself over. um then look at what he just did, and well, kinda that I'm not used to stand out, and it's weird. I feel like I should, but no one's calling attention to it.
Would you prefer they did?
it's what I expected. It's just unexpected, you know.
As someone who has spent the better part of their life trying to avoid unwanted attention, I suppose that there are far worse fates.
You also come to a town where people know to keep their minds in their own heads. How you doing, gentlemen? And the woman at the bar looks to the two of you.
Good evening, or day. Good time of day to you.
It's getting to be evening.
My name is Razvan Fleur. This is my friend Humphreys. We are looking to make less dry throats.
Well, you come to the right place. And I see you put in a mighty fine order. I'll take that piece of paper from you, thank you. Kind of scans over it, looking at everything. There are three of you.
Hey, our other friend, Mr. Branson, is over there looking at the bounty board.
Looks over her shoulder, sees everything that is Branson in his entirety.
I should also point out Branson has his hood down, so no one's not seeing that he is Yanti.
Oh yeah, no, yep, Understood. Quite a menagerie of folk, if you will. What brings you to Melancholy?
Just passing through, from what we understand, but we are trying to find our way around, and Melancholy seemed like a logical place to begin.
That's certainly the kindest way I've ever heard it.
Well, to put it lightly, it has been somewhat of a venture to get this far, and we have not encountered much of any civilization since we arrived in Kartakass. So it is nice to finally kick up our boots for a moment and get to enjoy pleasant company.
I personally don't know how much of pleasant company you will find, at least until the concert is over down at the hall.
I see. I did
Most.
not realize the performance was in place.
Well, there are a few different things going on. I know the concert hall keeps itself busy, as many bards are wont to do. But I do know this particular, I believe, this particular evening, there's supposed to be some type of something to do, some type of important event, at least for important in the scheme of what important can be in a small town like Melancholy. Certainly nothing like Scald, that much I can tell you, and given its importance, I fail to see, in the grand scheme of things, how much a little competition is actually going to make a difference, but you never know.
Competition can often bring out the best in some folks.
And also the worst. But
True.
we keep on doing, and I'm simply here doing my duty. I serve drinks, I make meals, I keep tabs on things, and I listen real good.
Oh,
By the way,
good.
here's your rosé. And what should I call you, little scrawny one?
Humphrey will
Pointing at
put his hat
Humphrey.
on the Humphrey will put his hat on the counter. My name is Humphrey.
Here's yours, Mr. Humphrey.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Mr. Rasman, for the order.
Of course. And Razvan will, with two fingers, kind of slide around the rosé glass so that the tannins breathe.
Mm-mm.
You actually will see Humphrey take the glass. I imagine is like a wine glass by the leg, like swirl a little, see the color against the light, and tilt it to smell it.
It smells like what you got. It smells like wine.
Well, it's again,
sort of
he has no
dry,
nose.
sort of dry, crisp, cerveza cristal. No, I'm just kidding. You have no idea how long I was waiting on that one.
Good. Good.
Listen, just because I'm Chilean doesn't mean that every drink Humphrey
It's
has is going to be a just every with the jingle in the background.
Not sponsored, unless.
I will sell out in a heartbeat. Go ahead.
Cerveza cristal.
Especially if it's a beer. Come on, I'm drinking right now. Let's do the magic. Please
No,
don't.
rosé citric, if you've never had it, is very like
Oh, no,
very
I-
dry, grapey smell.
Yeah, no, I'm familiar. The blend with of dry wine with red. Well, not necessarily a dry one, but just a blend. It's
Gotcha.
mostly to emphasize the fact that Humphrey has experience like with wine. It's not just like downing it.
Yeah. Yeah, cause you're on the bougier side of things. You know your way around a wine glass.
Hmm.
You've served a number of wine glasses.
Hmm. So yeah, Humphrey is just like it's like doing the standards with the like as far as tasting it and just trying to gauge the quality of it and once he has done the like the color, the movement, the smell, he will try it.
It's mid-grade. Like it's not the fanciest rosé you've ever seen. Certainly not what your madame would drink, but it's good. It's not cheap, that's for sure.
A nice blend.
Certainly isn't boxed.
It's a nice blend. Thank you again.
My pleasure. I'll be sure to tell the gentleman who helps us make our wine in the back. I'll be sure to tell him you approve.
This is for any local vineyard.
Yeah, we make almost everything in house. We don't make everything, unfortunately. It's a bit hard to do that in the middle of a swamp, but we do have some. You'll notice,
These
by
are-
the way, the more that this individual is talking, that her accent, I'm sure you both have clocked it, does not sound the way that it certainly Juji's sounded or Barhu's sounded. I'd like you both to roll me an insight check.
Will do.
A 6.
An 18.
Razvan is just obsessed with what the drink will do, like once it reaches once it reaches Humphrey's like lips, I guess. Just fascinated by like what this is. How's this gonna work?
Osmosis.
Yeah.
Humphrey, there's something about the way this person holds themselves that even though you haven't seen much of civilization, there is something behind those eyes and behind that voice that tells you this person may not be native to Kartakass.
Humphrey will take note of that. As for what's happening with the liquid, you see Humphrey bring the glass to his face and just like tilt it. And at first, it seems he's going to spill to spill everywhere, but as if the surface was like invisibly porous, you see it coming in in tiny veins and branch as it goes in and just blends with the rest of his body.
You know those those weird like slow-mo those slow-mo videos of like
Smoking
two
water?
liquids. I was just gonna say, yeah, like two liquids crashing into each other.
You just look like a lava lamp.
Yeah, basically.
Kinda, yeah. Like color smoke on water. Those look really nice.
But yep.
There's a
Nah.
there's a nice quality of like small. Oh damn it! I'm forgetting the term right now. But small drones, like big vineyards, tend to have their renown, but there's always something just charming about a small brewery, a small winery, I guess.
Well, it's certainly cheaper than exporting it.
Do you have many exports here?
It depends on who you are, who you know, and, well, whether or not you're willing to pay for it.
Forgive our questions or curiosity. We are not from Kartakass.
I'm aware, sweetheart. I'm aware.
Ah, do you get many travelers from outside of Kartakass?
No,
I see.
we do
Well,
not.
do not mean to pester you with questions if you are busy, of course.
I'm about as busy as a cat on a sleeping day.
So, not busy?
Nope.
I see.
Y- You say you don't get many travelers, but if I may be so bold to ask, you don't sound like the few other people we have had the chance to meet.
Certainly got a good ear, that's for sure.
He will wiggle the tiny knobs on his head.
I don't typically try to let it loose, but when I can tell other people aren't from Kartakass, I like to think it's a sign of good faith. You're right. I'm also not from Kartakass. But Kartakass is now my home. It's not like I have much of a choice than to just blend in, make use of what I can.
We made it here through some strange mists. Would that be the way you got here as well?
That's one way of putting it.
Hmm. Well, pardon for
There's
prying. Hmm? Go ahead.
there's something to be said about the mist, sure. But there's also something to be said about the people who travel them like they're nothing. I sure did, shall we say, get whisked here. But the mists did not find me. I found the mists.
You wanted to arrive here.
Not exactly. I didn't know where I was going.
You wanted to get lost.
That's one way of putting it.
I suppose I can understand that.
There's something about the monotony of every day that makes you wish you could go somewhere else. And then when you get to that somewhere else, you realize that the grass was never greener.
It seldom is.
But enough about me. What about you boys? You said you're off to other places. Where are you going?
In truth, we aren't earthly certain, at least yet. Right now, we're just trying to recover from a rather treacherous journey to arrive here, but it would seem that all manner of strange occurrences have been afoot since our arrival to Kartakass. we passed by a town that was completely, I would say abandoned, but slaughtered seemed to be more of a fitting term for it. We are worried that our arrival here was met with we worried rather that we had found a emptied out place full of just undead. Unfortunately, we have met Lycan, both friendly and unfriendly. And now we are here, trying to find our next steps. Which is why I would imagine that Mr. Branson is over there looking for anything that might be a lead forward.
You watch as you say all of this. The woman crosses her arms over her chest, closes her eyes as if she's really paying attention, like really just listening, honing in on what you're saying. And slowly but surely her brows begin to furrow, but she does not yet say anything.
Unless you have anything else to add, Mr. Humphrey.
It would be curious as to many things since we are not from around here. But right now, as we are still trying to find out what our next step will be, I would not like to just bombard you with questions about this place.
Well, the reality is I don't necessarily know how much I could tell you about this place as a whole. There are a few things I could tell you, a few answers I could give. Though, a bit of advice, be careful about how you talk about lycanthropy in these parts, in all of these parts. You never know who's listening, and you never know what stance they take.
I see. So it is more of a divisive topic than one way or the other.
It's complicated. There's nuance.
I see. I suppose the best things in life often are.
But
Will
it's...
that divide?
Hmm?
Would that divide have anything to do with the markings on some doors?
You're a perceptive one, aren't you?
I keep attention, yes.
Good. I would continue to do that. You're right. Markings on doors mean many a things. Some of them mean allegiance. Some of them mean sanctuary. And depending on who you are and who you care about, who cares about you, who's watching your behind, that symbol can be the difference between a safe haven and a fight.
Is there some form of struggle for power, or is this a historied feud?
The answer to that is probably both.
I see.
See, a little bit about the structure of each place. Each town has a Meister Singer. That is, they are known as the most powerful bard in one given area. They bear the responsibility of acting like both a governing power and also a protective measure, and also, I guess, in a sense, a political entity, though they are themselves their own person. But just because each place has a Meister Singer does not necessarily mean that there aren't other groups vying either for that spot or for the entirety of that power as a structural point. I'm sure I don't have to explain what that means to you.
Hmm.
In other words, just because each town has a Meistersinger does not necessarily mean that the Meistersinger holds all the power. And it doesn't mean that the Meistersinger is the only one holding or fighting for power. Even something as small as a little grubby town like Melancholy has its own issues, has its own power struggles. You'd do well to be on your guard about how freely you talk about those things, who you talk about them to, and with whom you share allegiances.
I see. Well, it's certainly pleasant to understand that we should be a bit more cautious with who we agree to assist, if in at all. But speaking of which, how do I ask this? Is there a particular person in charge of who posts the bounties then?
The bounties.
Looking at where Branson is in front of the, I assume, Browning board?
It for your information, Branson. Yes, there are bounties there. You only see one, um, which depicts an individual with it in and of itself is like a black and white image, right? It's pen on parchment, but it's an individual. It strikes you as interesting with their hair shaved on the sides, pulled back into a large ponytail, and on their face is what appears to be a mask with some type of embroidery on it, specifically depicting uh, filigree that almost somehow the longer you stare at it, the more the filigree almost looks like eyes over top of where their eyes should be, but it is in fact filigree that seems to be like depicted on the mask. They seem to have other than that, you really can't tell depictions of the person because they're wearing a cloak and it's only from like the neck up.
Yeah, I'm just imagining a
But
One
you do
Piece
see,
wanted poster.
yeah, basically, and you do see wanted, dead or alive, and you see the name, the Scavenger, written in bold print.
Mm.
Beside that, beside that, and for the record, the reward is 5,000 gold pieces. Um, you see as well there are a myriad of different sort of notices. It looks almost to be more like a news board than it is like a job board. And you get the sense just by looking at it, Branson, that there are jobs posted, but you almost get the sense that there's not a lot. Like this town itself is almost so small that there's not a lot of work to be done.
Yeah,
And as we cut back to, sorry.
I was just gonna say, yeah, he mostly was just trying to go over there to get an idea about like, because I heard it was a notice board, so he was just trying to like
Yeah,
take in all of the information there, and specifically he was going to see
yeah.
if there's anything about if there is a proper smith in town, because again, he's going to get his weapon silvered as soon as possible.
You don't see anything about a smithing on there, but for my sake, just as like a skimming, but for my sake, why don't you go ahead and roll me? I'm gonna go ahead and say that this is going to be a intelligence check.
Oh, okay. At least I'm positive in that stat.
Okay.
16.
So you gather a couple of different pieces of information. Again, you don't really find anything on the notice board about a smith. You do, however, notice three particular things that catch your eye. Number one, uh, connecting the dots a little bit, you notice that there is uh, a notice for the concert hall, which you now know is called the Middle of Nowhere, and they are hosting what appears to be a bard competition. Not so much, not strictly like a battle of the bands style thing as you skim through it. It seems to be that they are looking for an opportunity to send someone local off to one of two directions, either on a sponsorship to Amherst or as a entry point of their choosing to play at, it looks like some type of really important, like, because it's you, Branson, you don't really care so much about the name, but it appears to be some type of like really important like concert hall or dance hall in Skald.
Hmm.
It appears that they're offering as like a reward for being the best a chance to go at either one of those locations and to essentially either study or essentially launch a career. You notice as well on this notice that there is a symbol of a waxing crescent that is like got what almost looks like a treble clef laced into it at the bottom of the page.
Mm.
You also notice that there appears to be signage about the, as you saw before, the indoor outpost. Um, Seems that the person who runs it by the name of Leechy Dordo, Leechdordo, is looking for people that they can hire for work. Specifically looking for escorts to carry imports and outports to and from Melancholy to, well, for more information, seek out Leechy directly.
Mm. He'll untack that one and just roll it up and put it in his pocket to tell the guys later, and then probably head towards the bar if that's all he's really finding.
Sure. To which we cut back to whatever Razvan was mentioning about your friend Branson over at the messenger notice board. I believe
Does Branson and Rosman lock eyes like that one Always Sunny's bit?
No, I'm imagining
Yes.
this is another instance where he just magically is behind you when you didn't expect it.
Okay.
There was only
You'll slide open a stool.
there was only one bounty, and I don't feel like getting it. I don't kill things that are alive.
Right. I see. Well, here, take this, and he'll slide over an ale.
You'll watch him just take a big gulp of it, and then be like, "So you find anything?"
Cerveza Cristo.
God damn it.
It's getting more of the lay of the land, trying to understand exactly what powers might be here. Anything interesting on the bounty board, other than killing something, it would seem?
Eh, there's that. There's something at the concert hall. A bard, if they win, can go to either that Imhurst place or some place in Skald.
No. Excuse me. Have you ever been to Skald?
I can't say that I have. Uh, Unfortunately, in my ventures, I can't say I've been so lucky, and I have run into an issue with getting, for lack of a better word, stranded here.
Or did you want to leave
Drowned.
Melancholy?
You know what? At one point, I did. At one point, I did. However, I don't know if that's the case anymore.
I see.
To be fair, what we have met outside is rather hostile. I do not blame you.
Yeah. And from what you're saying, it's only getting worse.
Yes, speaking of which, do you know if there's a smith that will silver a weapon?
She just kind of looks at you. Roll me an insight check. All three of you.
Will do.
Yeah, I basically just asked, could somebody build me a pipe bomb? 20.
In Minecraft. 10.
17 for me.
20, 17, 10.
Razvan is watching the lava lamp in
I'm
Humphrey again.
actually gonna give you I'm gonna give you advantage, Razvan. And I do have a justification for it. It is entirely because she literally just mentioned be careful how you talk about lycanthropy and who you talk about it
Sure,
to.
yeah.
So you kind of get this. She just gives a look, eyes him up and down, raises a brow very quizzically, like, oh, you missed the conversation, didn't you? Giving that sense of like, did you like it's very much that mom stare of did you just ask me that?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
In Mr. Humphrey will see that look and say, in Mr. Branson's defense, I doubt the knowledge would have made any difference.
Right.
Since coming here, 3 different werewolves tried to kill me on sight.
What
We
we
did
have
have a
been
friendly one
informed-
escort us here.
What we have been informed is that werewolves here, as we've discovered with Mr. Baru, they tend to hold positions of power.
Oh, you know Baru.
It was a lovely acquaintance, yes.
He's good people.
Mm.
He's good people. Please continue.
He's just gonna turn to Humphrey and go, there's no point in having a weapon if it can't kill whatever attacks you.
We are not doubting that. We are just saying that being open about the intention of using a weapon with a specific kind of target may be complicated when that specific kind of target is around us.
Well, if they're not going to attack us, then it won't come unsheathed. That's just simple etiquette.
It would be like entering a human town and asking, "Excuse me, apothecary, where is the poison that only affects humans?"
I mean, I make poison naturally, so I've never had to be in that situation.
It was never mind.
The point is, even if I told you where there was a smith, which unfortunately we don't have one here, we really ought to get one, but we don't. The last one that we had, unfortunately, was run out of town. But my point, even if you were still here, even if they hadn't run him out, there's no guarantee that he would have silvered it for you. Not because your intentions aren't well-meaning, but depending on who you talk to and who finds out who's doing what, well, let's just say anything you do and anything you say around these parts that have various connotations have the potential to have consequences. Well, you excuse me a moment. I gotta get this eyelash out of my eye.
That's fine. I just have one question. Since it sounds like you're at least not from around here, you might have seen them or you might have heard of them. And he's going to give them the "Have you seen this man Domon Kashu" bit, because I'm not going to read it every time. I would love to roleplay that, but it's also a whole paragraph.
No, but I might be able to point you in the direction of someone who might know. Say a friend of a friend of a friend, maybe. Not saying that they're friends with whoever it is that you're looking for, because I can tell by that look in your eye and this natural 20 on my table that that look is the look of somebody you want to kill. So I want to preface by saying that they are not a friend of whoever this is that you're looking for. But I think I do know someone who might have some insight. as to who you're referring to. Two, actually. Both of them in this town. I don't know if you've happened to go by the indoor outpost, but one Lychee Dordo happens to have some insights of some underground workings happening around Kartakass. Some folks who have been forced off the map by certain parties. Another, who you may not know literally at all, or may not even know where to look for them, by the name of the Shallow Mim. Little deer, if you ask me. Uh, they, I've heard that you can find them usually around the Nature's Guild if they're in town. I don't know if they're in though, but they, from what I know, have eyes to the sky and ears in the trees.
Thank you for your help. Also, if you hear tell of this man coming anywhere near here, run.
Duly noted. By the way, nice axe.
Which one? Because he has many.
The big one. You know, that one.
Yeah, the silvered one, which is already a big problem.
Right.
Yes, it sounds like I'm not going to be able to sell it here. I might just throw it away, I have no use for it.
Talk to Lychee. Might be able to middleman your way out of getting rid of that one.
Totally noted. He already posted a notice for work, so I was planning to see him, but we still have to wait for another, at least for a day.
Another.
Yes, you might think they are a werecat. No, they are just a walking cat.
So they're not like the Wanderer?
No.
Interesting.
Do you mean Juji?
Yeah, I'm surprised you know that name.
We made acquaintances upon our travels. She was rather nice. Or they were rather nice.
We seem
Kind
to
of
have the habit of running into celebrities around here.
just kind of slow nods. Celebrities, I don't know if I'd use that term loosely. There are real celebrities in these parts. Juji is not one of them. But
Well, they
Juji
should be.
is. You know, I would kindly like to disagree, simply on the basis that they are a cat.
It's rather specious, but okay.
I, mm, I don't
They
mean it
s-
in that way.
they speak. They have conversation. They have perspectives. This is a good thing to.
With the people in power right now, I don't think. I think that. Let me put it this way. I think if the rumors are true, that cat has their paws full way more than they would ever need, especially if they became a celebrity.
I think I understand what you are saying.
Right. It's quite literally. It's not about their potential. It's not about the quality of person, right? It's I know you made the comment about it being a speciesist, but unfortunately we live in a society where that kind of species does matter. It shouldn't, but it does.
I half thought you were just going to say we live in a society.
We do, in fact, live in a society.
Thank you, Citric.
As magical eyeliner seems to just grow on this person's face.
But on that note, since so many warnings are at the order of the day, how safe do you consider this town to be?
By
I
whose standards?
I gotta assume it's safe enough for you to not to prefer it over everything outside, but uh, just trying to gauging should we expect getting attacked within this town?
There's a moment where she looks at Branson like a long, hard stare. You know, normally I'd be inclined to say that you're in good hands. But if I may be so bold, if you don't play your cards right, you might not be safe anywhere.
Well, at least it's good to know that, so we know what to prepare for. You have been rather helpful. I cannot emphasize enough how much it helps us to get a better grasp on where we are.
It's really hard showing up in a place that you know nothing about. Like I said, I could tell that you weren't from around here from the moment you walked in. Sorry, it's a bit obvious. But if
Oh
there's
no.
something that I can do to make sure that y'all don't end up dead meat before you even started, well, it's the least I can do. And as she says that, that tiny androgynous figure that I mentioned before scurries up and places your food in front of you. Well, I was wondering where that was when that was coming out. Good. Can actually get something to eat in your system.
Thank you kindly.
Uh, is it placed in front of all three of us?
Yep, all your food is placed in front of you. Yep.
Humphrey, or not Humphrey, Razvan will take out like a third of the food placed in front of him and give that third additional uh, to Branson.
He will not turn down food as he has already half engulfed whatever has been put in front of him.
There we go.
Especially if there's meat. You would assume that this man has a very big protein need.
Humphrey takes his time, just elegantly, like cutting down the food and eating it piece by piece. Do not know how thankful I am for having some cutlery again. Eating on the road has been rather unelegant.
I have no doubt.
Apologies that we have not been able to find more finery in our settings and backdrop, Mr. Humphrey.
Is it too hard to have a restaurant in the forest? I don't think I am asking for much.
Perhaps we will find a palace that needs a group of adventurers to come and dine at it for some reason. Regardless, this, from everything I have heard, my friends, I am beginning to think that perhaps it would be keen to try and make our way towards Skald. What do you think?
If anything, it is a place of interest in here.
I would prefer we first find out where my quarry is, though I would think he would probably go to Skald. He'd need enough bodies to start since it sounds like he's traveling light.
The difficulty would be it is hard to find trust in getting information. From what we understand, if we find ourselves in the employ of one group, we could be making an enemy of another without fully knowing that this is what we are doing or who we are allying with.
Well, he's openly advertising services as he just puts down the paper that he had, put into his belt. So obviously he's not afraid.
This is your quarry.
No, that is this Lechi man. He's the one
See.
who has information. Or one of them.
So you wish to go see this person?
Yes, if only because I can also get rid of this giant axe I cannot use.
Oh, see. Well,
Why do you
friendly
mean you
bud.
cannot use it?
What was that?
What do you mean you cannot use it?
It is too big, it's unwieldy. I've learned how to master this axe as he pulls up his regular axe, puts it back on his L hooks, and these axes. Those are the only ones I can use without being completely inefficient and possibly getting myself killed.
Fair enough.
Above game, I'm only allowed one martial weapon proficiency with this subclass. I chose battle axe.
Well, barkeep, would you perhaps know where we can find this individual?
Which one?
Kind of looks towards Branson and the bounty posting
I think it's the
or
outpost.
the letter.
You talking about Lychee? Yeah, the indoor outpost.
Do you know what that is?
Yeah, down the road.
Any thing we should know about the indoor outpost or this lychee character?
I'm gonna remind you the same thing I reminded you about all things with regards to Kartakass, and that is that not everything is what it seems.
See.
You also
Well,
you also missed the fact where she said that he can easily move goods that are pretty much illegal, and he's looking for people to help him do it in the open. So,
sure, but it is more a question of do they prefer to reach out to their contacts beforehand, or they find with somebody they do not know approaching their front door? I am going to assume that it is all right to simply approach and speak on our own behalves. Well, aside of getting a good amount of information, perhaps it is best we retire for the evening and approach this tomorrow morning.
I'm fine with that.
It has been a long journey. I wouldn't say no to a soft bed.
Very well. Once we finish our drinks here, we shall retire at the what was the name? Longfang Inn.
Long Claw.
Ah, that's the one.
I have one last question before we leave, and
By all means.
you have all paid her properly, right?
Yes, with X amount of currency.
Yeah, like I said at the beginning of the session, I would take care of it. You're
Yeah.
good.
Do you know anyone who is capable of magically repairing an item here? I was told to possibly check the Nature's Guild, but I will go to anyone who is able to do it.
Sorry, you cut out. Could you repeat your question? I'm so
Ah.
sorry.
He was asking if they know of anyone who can magically repair an item. He heard he could possibly find someone at the Nature's Guild, but he's asking if there's anyone else in town who could. He's not picky.
I don't think there's anyone with that kind of skill here. You'd probably have to go to one of the bigger cities.
Thank you. And he will,
That is good to know.
yeah, he will leave a small tip of, we'll say, like 3 gold, just for the sake of tracking stuff, and then he will follow them as we head to the inn.
After finishing off his drink, Razvan will kind of place his hat on his chest and give a slight courtish bow towards the barkeep. Your hospitality has been most welcome. and appreciate it.
Just in case you need it. The name's Bishop. Bishop
Bishop.
Greythorn.
Very well.
It's been a pleasure, Bishop. And Humphrey will take his hat and do a tip it slightly.
As you begin to leave, you start to notice a bit of a crowd of people leaving the concert hall. You realize now is probably the best time for all of you to make your way back to the inn. And as the three of you head back to the inn, is there anything else you wanted to look for or check before you head inside?
Honestly, as we are leaving, Humphrey wants to take a quick scan of the tavern again, seeing if any major changes with the people we saw once we came in, the two flamboyantly dressed, and pretty much anyone else.
Roll me a perception check.
That's a 17.
They haven't changed in terms of people coming and going. But what you do notice is that at some point, as you take your leave, the man with the vest and the red bandana who was staring at the ground had taken a seat. And the very stocky, well-built man at one point started watching you all and watched you as you exited, but did not get up, did not make any movements, just watched.
In that case, Humphrey will be the last one to exit the tavern. He will, purposefully slow a bit and do a nod his way, and then exit.
Is there anything else you would like to do before entering the inn?
I don't think so. I think we're pretty much going to be locked in until.
Cool. Cool. Just wanted to check. You enter this building, which, by the way, like I mentioned before, you see a particular symbol on the front of the door. It seems to be full moon dripping blood, you think, by the redness painted next to the burn marks. As you enter the building, you are immediately met with obviously like this front desk sort of situation. There's a entire like wall full of keys and cubbies behind the desk, and you see a very almost eccentric individual based on everything else that you have seen thus far, of a very lanky, long-lived humanoid woman with very long black pigtails. Seems to be wearing this sort of um, like a deep navy blue coat with like silver filigree on the lapels, with a slew of buttons down both front panels, and with the sleeves cuffed with white and silver filigree, pushed up above the elbows, and you unironically see, well, actually, yeah, all three of you roll me a nature check.
With you.
5.
19.
That's a 14.
I mean, Razvan, that's definitely a squirrel. You know, for both Branson and Humphrey. Uh, the squirrel, sure, with fur that bristles on its tail almost like needles, with ears that are just slightly too long and claws that are incredibly gnarly, with a slight curvature of its spine that almost looks, well, it's very much a squirrel, but it almost looks like it's hunched over like a rat would if it was picking up something from the ground, and it seems to be perched on this woman's shoulder.
I'm glad it's just something like weird and eldritch. I was afraid it was going to be like an undead squirrel and Branson was going to get us kicked out of an inn.
Yeah, no, your lantern doesn't turn blue yet.
But
Yet.
yet,
You always
The operative word being here.
always say yet.
but yeah, no, you guys are the designated talkers and thinkers.
Yeah, Humphrey looks to Rasvan since he is the tiny small thing.
What do you want me to do about this?
Uh, we are trying to negotiate for a room, isn't it?
Yes, but do you not see the squirrel?
Yes, I see it. Should we try to pretend it's not there? Would it be rude to point it out?
I don't know.
Oh, he doesn't bite.
Oh, good to know. Razvan Fleur, these two are my friends. We are looking to purchase a room in the inn.
Oh, sure, absolutely. Would you like one or two? Or three?
Two should be fine.
I'm assuming you want. There's a moment where this woman, like, hard stares at Humphrey. You already know where this conversation is going.
Branson will just hold up a bucket behind Humphreys without even saying a word.
Is that where he sleeps? Fascinating. Well, so then is it okay if each room has just one bed?
That is fine.
He would be fine, yes. He's really disappointed.
I mean, if he wants a bed, I can try and get you one with two beds. I think we have one still available. She proceeds to, like, reach down behind the desk and pull up this giant, like, binder of a ledger. I'm pretty sure we still have room if you want one with two beds. It's just going to be slightly more expensive, though.
Humphrey thinks about it for a second and says, "No, it's fine. Just one bed per room."
Okay. Proceeds to, like, flip over, like, page after page after page after page after page until eventually reaching a an empty, like, or not an empty, but like the most recent lines on this ledger. You see this woman pull out what appears to be some type of quill. You're welcome to roll a nature check with disadvantage, but I would hazard a guess that none of you have seen this before.
I will take the loss there, yeah.
I would bet that none of you have seen this before. And dips it into a well with what appears to be a bright scarlet liquid inside. You said your name was Razvan?
Razvan, but Razvan is just fine.
How do you spell it?
Razvan.
Okay. I probably should ask for your last name just for the sake of procedures, but I've never seen anyone with a name like that before.
I see. Well, my last name is Fleur. Fleur.
Oh, that's weird. Okay. Proceeds to write it down.
I didn't realize that Kartakass was 90s America.
Listen. 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 And what's the name I should put down for the second room?
Branson will be
Humphrey looks
fine.
at Branson.
Branson will be fine.
And how do you spell that?
You will actually see a look of, oh shit, I actually have to remember something. Because it's not often he's had to actually write anything. So he's trying to remember the spelling of his name. B. And he starts scribbling out the letters in the air, but some of them are in Draconic and some of them are in a Infernal, but he gets through Branson.
Great. And do you have a last name you would like me to put down as well?
I do not have a last name.
Fascinating. Branson, no last name. Got it. All right. And this individual taps this squirrel with a question mark on like its little peats, and it proceeds to scurry down and get 2 keys off of the giant key rack behind her. Um Proceeds to scurry over to both of you, drops 1 key in your hand, Branson, and 1 key in your hand, Razvan.
Most appreciated. Now, I believe I will retire for the evening, but Mr. Humphrey, where would you like your sleeping bucket?
That is a good question. Whichever of you wouldn't mind having me, I'm perfectly fine either way.
I don't think either of us would be opposed.
Do you want me to flip a coin?
I appreciate the interest, but I think I can make that decision. Just on a tactical sense, Mr. Rasvan, you would benefit from having a bodyguard. No offense.
I see, I understand. I understand that. But you can retire to the room when ready. I will. I have some things to think about and to write down.
Also,
Razvan is proud that Humphrey considers Razvan his favorite.
meanwhile, Branson will just go, also, if you see a person, I can best describe them as a walking cat. And he just does like the 2 fingers for walking to show that they're bipedal. If they come in looking for shelter, send them to one of our rooms. We lost them.
A lost kitty? Okay, I'll keep an eye out for a lost kitty.
Branson's like microaggression, but it's also like, I don't know how to deal with this.
Roll an insight check with advantage.
That's a 25.
Do I need to tell you this person's intelligence and wisdom score?
No, but let me put it this way: before we did anything, the fact that they have pigtails, I was gonna go. I actually was gonna say, how old are they? Because if it's past a certain point, that's a red flag.
I'll go ahead and give you the on your insight roll. This person is probably like, you like the 18 to 22 range.
Ah, okay.
So like an adult, legal, but like just barely an adult.
The frontal lobe hasn't hardened enough. I get you.
Exactly. Again, do I need to tell you the wisdom and intelligence score
No,
of this person?
no, it's fine. Let's go on.
And as the 3 of you make your way up the stairs, of course there are stairs, and of course it's not on the first floor. A couple things that you both know on your way up. For first and foremost, you see a sign of a room next to, like this big open space, right, where this front desk is. You see like a archway. It's not even like a door. It's like a proper archway with a little sign that says mail room. next to it. The lights in that room are currently off and dark, but you have a distinct feeling you understand what the purpose of that room is for. And on the other side, there's another, again, archway that leads into what appears to be a room with a bunch of smaller tables and stools. You see like a couple of like small lanterns on the tables as well, and it appears it's hard to see, but it's just within light of sight. There seems to be another door in that room as well, and of course, like I said, there are the stairs going up. Um, as the three of you make your way into your established rooms, which, might I note, are very plain. Um, they're very basic: bed, a wooden trunk, a wooden wardrobe, a window, a nightstand, and a what appears to be a candle in a candlestick. Is there anything that the three of you would like to do before turning in for the night?
I would just say Branson would do something he hasn't been able to do for a long time, and I mean a very long time. He actually takes off his armor, and then just the only thing he does special before bed is he puts his main axe within arm's reach of the bed, and he is sleeping with one of his hand axes in his hand, and that's it.
Okay. Okay.
I believe you said Razvan was going to do something, like take some time before going to the room.
Rosvan's just going to write down the things that he has seen thus far and make little sketches.
But you will do that in the shared room, or
In the shared room, yeah.
Perfect.
He's not going to wait in the lobby.
Yeah. Humphrey, for his part, I think. He has interest walking around, but right now we mostly will just stay in the room, and you will see him doing a little bit of practice. He will ask you, like, if it is uncomfortable for you, that he takes some time for that.
Well, no, but Rosvan doesn't seem particularly unbothered.
It is something he has been doing, like taking care everyone else is asleep to not bother them. But right now, he will start taking his time. And again, he's moving a lot with a lot more confidence now. But right now, it's not just about getting the basics. Humphrey is still looking to improve. So you see this tiny this tiny gelatin man just throwing wild punches.
Expecting trouble, my friend?
Don't you?
I don't expect it, but of course I do not shy away once it appears. Those who often look around every corner expecting a fight are often more likely to find one.
My job before, well, my job still is security. Regardless of our circumstances, I have to keep my senses sharp and my ability to react. I
Kind of.
I apologize if I may be overbearing in that regard, and I understand I might be a bit too cautious or a bit too quick to jump to conclusions, but it's just we are in an unknown place. I don't think letting my guard down is something I can afford.
Rosvan will kind of clasp his fingers together underneath his chin, kind of leaning forward. Security? What form of security would you be tasked with?
The place I come from, I work for a noble house. My, I am the apprentice of the head guard. It's my duty to be able to protect the members of the family. Right now, he is tasked with protecting the madam, the head of the house, but she has a young daughter, and at some point, I will be her retainer. I need to be sharp. I need to be on par with the task at hand. I have to prove myself to be able to hold myself that way.
And that is why you wish to run from our current predicament back to wherever you are from. Get back to this task of yours.
It's not just a task, it is my home. It's not a job for me. I do not take that lightly. I belong there. It was a long time before I belonged anywhere.
I
Cannot
can,
let it sleep.
I can certainly sympathize with that, but I am someone who has seldom fit in just about anywhere. With others of humankind, I am seen as strange and to be untrusted given who my father used to be or what my father was. And on top of that, when I was in the Bardic College, I also was estranged for focusing too much onto dramas and tragedies versus the comedies that are more likely to sell. But in all this time, I have never felt so with purpose since we arrived together outside of that strange carnival within the mists. So while I am sorry that you feel so misplaced, I am at the same time thankful that I was able to find a group of companions that would make me feel at home, even more so than when I was home.
I have nothing against you, Mr. Rasvan. If anything, I only hope we had met in different circumstances. But as it is, um, I agree. There is a strange sense of the more we walk this place, the more problems we find. It feels hopeless, and yet cannot shake the feeling that we are here because of that.
But there is a certain spark of, I don't know, beauty or power or strength within hopelessness. It's not as dismal as people believe it is. No, once you find yourself in a place that is truly without any form of hope, any building, any progress you make, you starting from nothing. So it is easier to find the momentum. After all, it's easier to get back to your feet if you're on the ground and if you're in the air. So, I think, yes, this place is difficult to try and find any form of hope or joy, but I see that as an opportunity to try and make our own.
Can't say I disagree with that outlook. Once you've hit the bottom, I guess all you can do is look up.
Exactly. There, I appreciate your insights as always, my dear friend Humphrey. But I believe it is getting rather late, and I should probably rest my eyes for what little time I may need.
I guess I should. And he looks towards the bucket. Also, take my time to rest.
Right, with the soft bed. And Razvan will put the bucket on top of the bed. There you go. A soft place to lie down.
Humphrey just looks at it and is like, "Thank you, Mr. Rusman."
Of course.
And as the three of you all get settled, ready for the night, before we take our break, please roll me, each of you, a Constitution saving throw.
I will.
Ow.
I will do my best, but my browser stopped responding.
No!
Natural 1 from Rosbun.
Ooh.
Did you get
This
inspiration for that?
Nah, fuck it, we ride.
All right.
Oh no, I was asking if you take your bardic inspiration.
Oh, I mean, we're about to rest, so it doesn't really matter.
No, you know what? You know what? Maybe he's onto something.
Oh shit! All right, well, I get a point of bardic inspiration.
And with that, we're gonna take a brief break.
Yay!
Drink your waters.
Yeah. Bring your legs, stretch some water.
And I think this is the first time everyone in the group has failed on one of these saves, so this will be interesting.
We don't know if we failed. Let me be optimistic. That's a 12, so we're at 10.
I will be right back.
You sweet summer child,
Same
I wonder at your optimism.
Be right back as well.
All good.
I'm also going to briefly step away for a second.
You're fine. I took a secret bathroom break while you guys were having great roleplay, so go right ahead. But hey, Chad, I hope you guys are having a lot of fun. This has been a good session. Sadly, due to a literal internet outage that will probably not be fixed today, we are still Onyx-less. So, yeah. The search for Onyx arc has begun. Of Those Who Wander Z. Which, oh no, now I've said that I feel so bad. I worry for Humphrey. He doesn't have a nose, and he can't explode. But yeah, it's been a good weekend for streaming. A lot of stuff. Hopefully, sometime later tonight, the next episode of Saved by the Spell will be up. I know I put a scheduled upload for it on YouTube, but I forgot what I scheduled it time-wise for. I know it'll technically like go up at least around midnight because it's going up on tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that. I've been trying out a lot of new stuff with uploading. But yeah, no, I'm just trying to think of something to talk about here. Trying to remember some things. Because we already dunked on the Borderlands movie yesterday, so I don't feel like not gonna beat a dead horse. Or a horse that never made it out the gate, I think. Let's see. I'll open up Twitter. I'll see if there's anything funny. Do. Oh? Oh yeah, no, that's just Thero talking about Dungeon Meshi. Good show. Still haven't finished it yet. Do. Oh no, I just realized we're going for like not adjacent, but pretty close. It's gonna be interesting when we do No Love War Extra because now we went from the massive chest to legs for days. I don't know what's going to happen. How are they going to explain the legs? What are they going to explain for Melt? That's going to be...
I got back to massive chest. Are you talking about fate?
Yeah, well, no. We finished with massive chest, but now we're dealing with legs for days. And when I say legs for days, I mean that they are 9 feet tall, and most of them as legs.
Those are nice proportions.
Yeah. Give me a second here. I'll see if I can find a picture. But they also have a name. No one can agree on
Want
this.
to see a picture?
Actually, no. This one's... They are the more tasteful design. And also, it might you might just enjoy my struggling to find out how to properly name them, because no one has ever agreed on their fucking name! How to translate it or anything. That's why I call her Melt. It's the only part of her name that makes sense. Extra M-E. The first two results are so wrong. The first one... Oh, wait. No, wait. I thought that the first one was a misspelling. But no, it's Fate Extra Metacritic. Okay, here we go. Images. Oh, yeah, I forgot that in, like, FGO, she is super overly... Do...
So how are you doing, chat? Having fun?
Listen, they were like, nobody liked playing Heaven's Field, so we have to make people like Sakura. So here's 4 Sakura face characters in all of, like, this one game. It will be in...
Is Sakura ever a fun character?
Struggle to open a box.
I mean, sometimes.
Sakura was the I am die hard, ride or die for the
spent
shy... Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, I just spent the last, 5 minutes trying to get this box open so that I could get my goddamn piece of pie. Sorry, what is this about hating on Sakura?
Well, no. Citric was asking if Sakura was ever a fan, like, favorite, and Sakura was the die-hard favorite of I ride or die, either shy girl, who has no chance, or the completely tragic character who is just like, nah, we gotta fix this. Even in the universe, going Sakura's route and sticking with it is considered the worst decision ever. It is the tragedy route. Which is why I always find it hilarious that Fate Extra, like, decided to double down and make 4 Sakura faces.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't she, like, the least, like, she's the least fave, and, like, that only got exponentially worse upon the release of both Apocrypha and Grand Order.
Actually, no, not with Grand Order, because they've made a lot of Sakura faces. I'm thinking of that at least 4, besides the ones just from... Oh, go ahead.
I meant fan polls.
Oh, fan polls. I don't keep track of those, man. Fate fans are weird enough, and I'm in their number, so I'm just like, nah, I accept that what I'm reading's trash. But I'm hooked. I don't care about anyone else's opinions. Unless it's you or Zako or a few other people.
What?
Not good to see. Chat is doing well. They have burgers and they have a Saguna of Rise and Ruin. I been meaning to try that game. It looks really nice. I like the aesthetic they go for.
Also, a really good game if you like detective games that just put out its, like, demo of its 0 episode. That they're, like, basically they're trying to put it out. I think they're going to be episodic. Of the Devil. It's a great 3-hour game. And trust me, if it doesn't hook you with its premise, then I don't think you like mystery games in general, because that's a good premise. Yeah, it's free on Steam right now. Again, I highly recommend it. And as soon as I watched someone play through it, I followed them on Twitter, downloaded the game. And the only thing is that, unfortunately, I now know everything about the episode 0, because it's, unless you are incredibly bad, because it's a hand-holding tutorial, you can't fail it. I know the whole story.
Ah, okay. Not of puzzle games. One I've been hearing a lot of good things about is called Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. Yeah. If you like puzzle games and you like that like retro PS1 vibe, by all means, like, give it a look.
Yeah, and for Of the Devil, let me put it this way. I'm a person who aggressively hates Danganronpa. This game was basically created by somebody who loves Danganronpa and AI Chronicles, and they lean more on Danganronpa. But I was immediately hooked by this game. That should tell you how much I like it and what you would be in for. Which means I actually probably should mention this to Punk like Tuesday. I know where they fucks with.
So, apologies for my quiet. I am consuming.
No, we know you got pie.
It's good. It's very good.
Me, on my end, I have chocolate-covered coffee beans.
Mm.
Getting my caffeine in a munchable way.
So what you're telling me is that that meme that Vaughn retweeted of snorting the coffee beans should not actually go to Punk, but should go to you instead.
I think it might.
The reason why I made that thing is that if you know Punk at all, like again, like this is from me literally traveling across the country with them. One of the things that Punk can never like function without is cold brew. And I would definitely believe that if there's a nitro cold brew out there, yeah, they grabbing it. Oh, Citric, you poisoned me with that song for that day.
I love that song.
It was in my head for 12 hours. Fuck you.
I just vibe with that entire thing.
I mean, yeah, I'm also
Actually,
addicted to
I'm
energy
gonna
drinks.
I'm going to post the link in chat so people can also. Yes,
I have one fear.
I mean,
Listen,
yeah.
all I see is that thumbnail, and I have one fear.
I mean, yeah. Listen, you're smart.
It's very well founded.
I mean, again, we grew up in the 90s, so we know if you see anything involving Toho, there's a giant percentage of, yeah, I probably don't want to click on that. Also, you probably took at least 20 years to figure out what Toho was.
The whomst?
Yeah. Yeah. First off, how dare you? Second of all, now I have to fight the war flashbacks. I need you to know, Vaughn. It has been over a decade, and somehow my body, my muscle memory still knows the choreography to Bad Apple. And I'm sad every single day. I am sad every single day.
I am so glad I was wired to be the type of anime fan who doesn't give a shit about dancing and choreography.
No, you have to understand, it's like one of my life's biggest passions. So like, of course, when I was a small child and like it was my life, I was learning all of the things, all of the listen, cringe is dead. I was literally a child, but I was out there learning all the MMDs, learning all the fucking choreography. But now, in my late 20s, I'm suffering because if I hear the music, I remember it.
Also, I know who we're going to raid because they just went online now, but I forgot that their Twitch notification message for when they go is, I came!
Oh,
Yeah,
well then.
Cedric, you know the soundbite, though, because it's Wiley.
Oh, yeah.
Which,
Yeah, okay. Yep. Mm-hmm.
oh yeah, I forgot that's actually played on Saved by the Spell, so you would have heard it too.
Yep, mm-hmm.
I miss back when I had as many sound bites on my soundboard as Wiley.
Also, Boa in chat talking about Punk knowing songs from Epic from memory. We get the new saga on the 30th. I'm hyped.
Yeah. I may have been listening to that earlier, and the only thing stopping your last earworm is having... It's been switching between Monster and Ruthlessness. Like, has been the track stuck in my head.
Yeah, the Thunder Saga, I wasn't feeling at first, but it has grown on me. At least the back-to-back with Suffering and Different Beast.
Different Beast, I definitely liked. Mutiny had me hooked because that, like, you were getting my live reactions to that. Mutiny was great just from a story standpoint, which I always will vibe with. And then again, we get Thunderbringer, which everyone loves. It's not my favorite, but it still slaps. I like all of the God songs in Epic.
My main issue with Thunderbringer is the weird MIDI that it starts with. Like, if it wasn't for that, I would really like the song. But my very first impression was negative because what is this fart sounding MIDI? Like, why this instrumental to open?
And
The rest of the song, I really like, but that very first intro is like, why?
Listen, I've
Welcome
already.
back, son.
Oh yeah, welcome back. We've had a roller coaster that
there you
started
go.
with Fate we had a roller coaster that started with Fate, went into Toho, and now we're talking about internet musicals.
now we're talking about Cerveza Cristo.
God damn it!
I wish that we had
Told you,
fun.
I needed. We needed 3 to get the sponsorship.
I hope
That is
so.
the magic number. Like it's like Beetlejuice. You say the sponsor name 3 times and they give you money.
Yes.
Okay, let me just try this one sec. Let me try something 1 second here. NordVPN, NordVPN, NordVPN. I'm gonna check my email later. I hope so, because I would love to do a shitpost Nord like sponsorship. 2 of my favorite YouTubers have literally paid for their houses off of just shitposting Nord like sponsorships that they let them get away with. They're like, no, it works.
You're mixing it with Sword Those are the ones that let you do whatever. Like I remember Tomska in specific has an entire video about like his journey trying to see what will they censor, and they keep letting him getting away with almost everything.
I think Internet Historian did something similar with that, and he found the line, but I forget. But the person I'll always put up as the sponsor man, because now it's literally part of his channel, is the skits he will create for whatever sponsor he has. Internet comment etiquette.
Yep.
Like, he literally made an entire video about making the perfect ad, made an entire shitpost after you spent 30 minutes watching, and he got paid.
My man.
Yeah, no, if you want a good night, just sit down with a bunch of friends with your libations of choice and just go through at least like 10 internet comment etiquette videos, and then you'll have a bunch of new jokes.
Oh, why? Tell me that's fake. Please tell me that's fake.
What?
I just saw an ad for the live action remake of Lilo and Stitch.
Lilo and
Please
Stitch,
tell me that's
yeah.
fake.
I'm sorry for
Please
you.
tell me that's fake.
It's not.
No.
Ohana means money.
Ohana means creatively bankrupt.
Ohana means fuck you.
Pretty much.
But it sounds like we got everybody together. Do we want to pick back up?
I actually finished my pie before Zan came here, so I'm good to go.
I'm glad you added here.
All right. Are we ready to rock and roll?
Sounds like it.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be interesting. I have a question for you. All of you.
Oh.
Would you rather I go in order from lowest roll to highest roll? Or would you like me to randomize it?
I'm
Let's
inclined
do
to say
random.
lowest.
Why am
One
wait a
minute.
second? Why am I the one out of the two of us Citrix that's about to say "fuck it, we ball"? Because I'm down with random.
Because sometimes I want to shift it up. And you're the tiebreaker now.
Well, if I'm randomizing it. Let me grab my D6.
Real quick. Vaughn, is CT for like a state abbreviation Connecticut?
It should be.
It is.
Damn it. The closest place for me to get a Cerveza Cristal would be in Connecticut.
You're really, really committed to this.
I want the sponsorship, okay?
Yes, please. If you can get me paid for this, I will go to Connecticut and get your Cerveza Cristal and drive it to you as Saris is rolling this.
Why is Connecticut the point where you're going to go for a sponsorship from a Chilean company? Like, please explain that one to me.
Okay, I will actually say this again. We're giving Saris plenty of time to figure out what order we're going in.
Oh, I'm ready.
I'll say this. So there's a short I didn't put up on YouTube yet. I'm going to put it up eventually, but I was trying to find the right magic area for this to be funny. But one of my shorts is literally me saying to my friend Zako after he's like, "How dare you shield your Patreon?" Me saying, "I just told everyone I'm not paid a livable wage." So yeah, I'll drive to Connecticut for beer. But yes, tell us about our nightmares.
It's fucking meat beer.
So, Branson,
Yes.
sleep is not pleasant, but it could be so much worse, and you know that. As you fall into a slumber, your mind, almost unable to be still, wanders for a moment before eventually finding a lull. As your eyes open up, though, you find yourself faced with wagons in disarray, destroyed. And yet, as you move, or at least I'm assuming you move, to check on the wagons, there's something incredibly off about the wagons. They're empty.
I have a question. In this dreamscape, is it day or night?
Hard to tell, but it seems like it's the evening.
This is weird because nothing was ever stolen from the caravan. At least he thinks he knows where he is or close to about what's happening, and the caravan was never empty. There was always boxes and stuff, so he's going to search around and try to figure out what's going on here.
Roll me an investigation check.
Will do. That's an 8.
It's funny. You go and try to look for boxes and barrels and crates and, bags, the things that people would take with them when they're traveling, and instead find rubble, ruin. The things that would belong to the people who occupied this caravan have been destroyed as if deliberately designed to just make it so that it's unlivable, make it so that anything that could have possibly been in here was ransacked, and whatever was left behind is unusable. You find it difficult to even search through the rubble itself, really not able to find any specific item.
I'm going to assume I haven't seen a single person.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Not even bodies. No corpse. No dismembered limbs. Not even blood. No persons. Roll me a perception check.
Okie dokie. $22.
As you reach down to try to move just some type of tarp out of the way, you watch as the shadows on the ground slowly seem to shift, as if growing longer.
Has the sun changed at all?
It has not.
Branson will reach down to his side and check to see if he has his axe.
It's gone.
Are the shadows lengthening in a certain direction?
Away from you, but in all directions. As you look behind you, your own shadow begins to lengthen and to grow and to stretch across the ground.
He will check for one other thing on his person before doing anything. He's
Okay.
going to look over to his right arm. Is the bandana still there?
It is.
Mhm.
It is.
He'll touch a hand
As you
to...
continue.
Oh, go ahead. You first.
No, you're good. You good. You go first.
He's going to place his opposite hand to it. He's going to take a few deep breaths and just go, "Voice, can you hear me?"
Voice, can you hear me? Your voice echoes.
He'll continue to
Do you
search around. Oh, go ahead.
do you continue to look at the shadow on the ground?
He'll probably look at... Again, he's trying to look for just anything, any sign of anything.
As you continue to stare at the elongating shadow behind you, you notice two silhouette-like eyes, or at least holes where eyes should be, pierce your shadow, staring.
Are you the one who brought me to the monument of my tragedy?
A carving of a grin forms on the shadow's face, but it says nothing.
If you have no intention to give me answers, release me, or hope you do not find me when I wake.
Just as you say that, it begins to shrink, pulling in towards your body, and you watch as these black ichor-like hands seize at your ankles. I would like you to roll me a dexterity saving throw.
Will do. Dexterity. That's a 9.
Your ankles are gripped, and you feel them begin to pull with a ferocity unmatched as you begin to sink into the shadows below you.
He's going to do something
Do
that
you
he's...
resist?
Yes,
Hmm?
but he's going to do something that he's basically never really done, because it's never been something that's ever been useful to him, either when he was in the caravan or when he was... or since then. He's going to use on what little natural magic he has, and he's going to exclaim, "Release me!" As I use my one free cast of suggestion.
Oh, okay.
So the DC's not 14, it should be... Well, let me double check. Yeah, it is actually 14. I programmed it right. Cool.
Okay. Reading the rules. Sure. Creature. Okay. Interesting. You're gonna make me look something up.
I'm glad I can keep you on your toes.
Mm-hmm. find that despite the fact that you tell it to let you go, another hand reaches out and grips the back of your knee and begins to pull.
All right, well, the last he is going to resist this as best he can, but if he keeps getting pulled into the shadow, eventually he's going to shout out. And what again? I'm angry that I coded this as German. He was going to shout out in Celestial, be like, "Voice, save me!"
You find yourself pulled deeper and deeper into darkness, and as you scream out, "Voice, save me," you find yourself jolted awake, yelling into the morning.
Yeah,
And
that
that is
hand.
how you wake up.
Yeah, that hand axe in his hand that he went to sleep is buried in the wall in front of him.
Yep. But you do actually get a full night's rest. Despite the nightmares, you do not take any points of exhaustion.
Cool.
Citric, odds or evens?
I say evens.
Fool.
Okay. Razvan. You find your brain also filled with a accoutrement of thoughts. Many thoughts, considerations about everything that has happened in the past 24 hours. Just as you go and lay your head down, your eyes fluttering to a close, you feel something grace your cheek as if passing over your face. And as you fall into slumber, you find yourself feeling as though you are falling and falling and falling into darkness with a source of light eons above you. And with a loud crack, after seemingly an eternity of falling, you find yourself on your back. The world around you beginning to shift. As it is not just darkness that you are feeling, but instead the world fades into black and white around you. I would like you to make me a perception check.
22.
It takes a moment for your eyes to adjust, but it seems that you are not alone. The space around you, before I describe what you see, is very, very plain. It almost resembles the ocean floor, and yet is not the ocean, as you are not surrounded by water. It is sandy, it is barren, full of rocks, devoid of life, as if it itself the definition of desecration. And as you continue to look, a hand graces by your face, as if trying to grab your attention, but unable to do so as it passes through. Your eyes follow this whimsical, misty hand, finding a visage of a ghost in front of you.
Roswell will kind of reach out. Is this a dream? Another specter of sleep?
You reach out, you watch as it clutches your wrist. Seemingly ethereal and yet corporeal at the same time, its hand grips your wrist. It does not do you harm yet.
If there is something that I am meant to see, something I am meant to understand, show me, please.
It tugs you. And it
Go ahead.
continues to pull you. Do you follow it?
Roswell will follow.
As you follow this ghost, it seems to lead you deeper into the darkness with no light, it itself barely visible to your eye. You notice as your eyes begin to fall on what you initially think are bodies, but they're not. As you watch as one hand twitches from one, from another, you see it sort of arch, its bones creaking, its tendons snapping. As you get a closer look, you see one open its jaw, revealing a pair of mighty canine fangs. They begin to expand in number as the darkness seems to creep off of them like a veil being removed in real time. There are countless. There are hundreds. And they have not noticed you yet.
Roswell will
Roll.
take a deep breath. Go ahead.
I was going to ask you to roll me a stealth check.
Roswell will take a deep breath and attempt to slink and slither through the shadows. 25. Good stuff.
25 for stealth. The writhing bodies in various shapes and sizes, all of which feel more and more malnutrient, so to speak. Malnourished is the word I was looking for. They crack their jaws and their joints as if waking from a strong sleep, as if becoming reanimated and alive, and yet they do not notice you as you slink into the shadows. The ghost does not let go of your wrist. You seem to drag it with you as you hide in plain sight. You watch as saliva begins to drip and seep out of mouths hungry and dry and seeking blood. You see eyes open, bloodshot, and peering, seeking into the darkness, looking for a bite to eat. They have not noticed you yet.
Rasvan will continue to follow the ghost, or wherever the ghost is leading.
The ghost is now following you as you have pulled it to hide. It does not make movement, but it looks at you with curiosity. It looks at you as if curious, as if asking the question, is this not what you wanted?
No. I don't know what it is in any of this.
They begin to rise to their feet, moaning. Searching, like eyes like spotlights. They search the darkness. I want you to roll me another stealth check.
22.
22. They do not make any moves towards you, but there are many. There are more than you can count. And there seem to be more pulling themselves up from the sand as if digging themselves out of graves unmarked. They do not see you.
It's time to leave.
To go where?
Anywhere but here.
To go where? The ghost asks more loudly. Roll me another stealth check.
22.
22 with that nat 20 on the other side. The eyes, like spotlights, seep over the ghost, and you watch as an arm reaches out and bats at it. And as it does, it dissipates. And yet somehow, it does not see you. It does not touch you. You are hidden in plain sight. And it is right there. You see it, hair thinned, falling out, eyes with a bloodlust, wild and ready to pounce, its bones ready to snap in disarray to allow it to do anything inhuman and yet feasible to the mind, able to crawl, able to climb, able to bend. Its mouth and its neck and its bare chest now covered in moisture. It breathes out, and a heat hits your face, and it does not see you. You watch as it takes an inhale and it sniffs, sniffing the air as if it knows something is in the shadows and yet cannot find it, cannot find you. The ghost reappears, taking your other hand now behind you, and it pulls. Do you follow it?
Osman will follow.
Don't look behind you, it says, before adding on in a whisper, run. I need you to make a dexterity check. Or acrobatics.
Same roll for me. 15.
15. You run and you run and you run and you run, but I have to ask, do you look behind you?
Nope.
You continue to run. Roll me a perception check.
All right. Natural 1.
The world around you continues to feel barren and empty. You have this gut feeling that you know you have been spotted because you are running. Do you look behind you?
Nope, gonna keep running.
Acrobatics check.
15.
Dexterity saving throw.
18.
You, with your heart pounding in your chest, trust your gut and follow your instincts, and you jump just in time for a hand to swipe out at your ankles, and yet it does not grab you. You continue to run. Roll me another acrobatics check.
21.
21. Roll me another dexterity saving throw.
15.
15. You continue to run and manage to dodge just out of the way as one of these ravenous beasts with a heavy comes after you, lunging at you, and yet it does not make purchase. You continue to run into the darkness, into nothing, until you reach what feels like a clearing. You can hear them encroaching, even on that natural one perception. It is too loud now. You hear them heaving and growling and moaning and salivating, trying to come after you, running in pursuit. But you reach a point where you see a door.
Razvan will finally take a breath again and move towards the door to open it.
You open the door, and with a cold sweat, you wake up yourself. Unfortunately, though, you did not find rest, and you take a point of exhaustion. Sorry.
You're good. I just written all this down.
Yep, you're good.
Still great scene.
You wake
Yeah.
you wake up to the sunlight hitting your face in a cold sweat, and it is the next morning. And last but certainly not least, Humphrey.
Hmm.
I regret to inform you, you passed your save. High
Oh.
enough that you have a dreamless sleep and you find rest. Though empty, once again, you get the sense that perhaps not experiencing a dream might be for the best. As you wake up to Razvan waking up, jolting awake in a cold sweat. Again, the morning creeping in. Though overcast, sunlight does come in. It does illuminate the wooden floor. And interestingly, because you have your wits about you, because you were rested, I will give you this for free. The window is open. The curtain is blowing and there is a nice breeze coming in. But you remember that window was shut the night before. And it is the morning.
Humphrey's immediate reaction is to scan all the room to see anything else out of place.
Perception check.
Will do. 19, both sides.
Nothing seems out of place. None of your belongings have been impacted. As far as you're aware, anyway. As you scrounge the room, everything is exactly where you put it. The door itself is still. Well, I'm assuming you shut it. Did you lock it the night before?
Probably would have blocked it, yeah.
If Rasvan
It's,
didn't, Humphrey would have insisted on doing that, yeah.
it's locked then, still. It's as you left it. Everything but the window.
Noticing like how Razvan seems to be distressed, like woke up distressed, he would still move first towards the window and slowly close it.
You
Just
do so.
making sure nothing else moves on his way towards there.
Yep. Nothing else moves.
Razvan's gonna do the Undertaker rising motion before immediately rushing to his small handheld notebook and start writing.
Do you do the
Yeah,
take?
probably Humphrey
Just gonna-
will like stop on his tracks if he sees you running that way, like, and ask, "Is something wrong? Did you see something?"
Something wrong? Is something wrong? Of course there's something wrong. We have not found something right in this place, but yet I have had such vivid dreams, such strange visions of my mind that don't always make sense, but it is beautiful and horrifying, just like this place. I must write this down.
Can I roll an insight on Rosman?
Sure.
Ooh, that's a 16. Humphrey's like, of course, I'm not going to get a full like description of what's going on through your head. But Humphrey's trying to piece together like what's going on.
Razvan is pretty rocked and struggling, not only from exhaustion but from kind of mixed feelings. But you can tell he's also genuinely excited, as though the fear on top of pushing some complicated emotions forward also is very inspiring for him.
Humphrey will make note of that and go back to closing the window. And he will sit in a corner of the room and watch you write. And every now and then just look around to see if again, anything else is out of place. He did a thorough check before, but he's not trusting himself right now. Like the
You know
window
what?
is open.
You know what? I'll give you this because you already have a 19. You notice a bit of perspiration on the windowsill and on the window and on the curtain as you close the window.
Mhm.
Like moisture.
And there is no indication that the night had any kind of mist or anything like that.
Nope, but if you look outside for longer than 2 seconds, it's painfully obvious that it didn't rain.
Hmm. Again, Humphrey will take note of that and sit and just watch Rasan write.
Razvan, after kind of writing down what he saw in his dreams, is gonna. You'll see kind of a almost excited, whimsical smile kind of turn to a flat, dour realization as he kind of sits back and closes his notebook. I am not my father. Right. Well, Mr. Humphrey, what do you say to breakfast?
Breakfast sounds nice. Yes, Mr. Raspan. And Humphrey will stand from the chair.
And perhaps some morning tea to awake my senses. And,
Yes, tea would be nice. It's certainly we all could use some warm food. Eh, let's see what this inn has in store as far as cuisine.
With a practiced patting of his thumbs downward, he's gonna kind of like clean his clothes, adjust his, slick back his hair behind him, and then put his hat on. If you do not mind, I would prefer to be led right now.
Yes, I will follow you. I mean, I will escort you.
Razvan will follow Humphrey.
Humphrey will walk forward, and he's looking all around. Right now, the tell he's looking for is humidity, like moisture of any kind.
You
He, hmm?
you find as you like leave the bed area and move closer towards the door and out into the hallway that it is dry beyond the moisture that you saw at the windowsill and on the bed frame around where Razvan was sleeping. The rest of the room, the rest of the area is completely dry. as if untouched.
Well, first of all, what if we go gather our missing companion?
Yes, of course. By the way, were you warm or something? Why was the window open when we woke? When I awoke?
I did not.
Oh, I suppose that is not good.
Not at all.
I suppose we'll keep an eye out then.
We can talk about that later. For now, I think it's a good idea to move towards breakfast. And he will knock on Branson's door.
So I have a bit of flavor that I'm not sure it's up to Saris, but I would say, so we established that I buried my axe in the wall. Don't know how thick the walls are. I think something that might be a good tell that something happened is that you guys could probably see part of the blade of one of Brance's like hand axes poking out of the wall near his door.
Correct.
Yeah, so you guys knock on the door, you're going to see Branson completely shirtless, which I'll have to describe later, but he's looking at you guys.
Go ahead.
And he is looking at you guys with, "What?"
Good morning, Mr. Branson. Did you had an uneventful sleep?
Something tried to take me.
Is your window open?
Is it?
Are you looking?
He will look back towards it.
It is.
So it would seem. Give me time. Where are you going?
Well, we were going to move for breakfast. Did you find something? I see an axe on the wall. I assume, looking inside, I don't see like any other commotion in the room. It's just like he woke up and attacked the wall.
Roll me a perception check.
You were going to say one?
Yeah, roll me a perception check.
Mm-hmm. It's a 24.
Yeah. It looks about as you would expect it to. Very, very similar to the room that you were staying in, minus the axe in the wall. The window, again, open, is got perspiration around it. It's got condensation around it. It's moist. And it smells funny now that you think about it.
What regard?
It smells the way that jackfruit tastes. But otherwise, you see no evidence of a fight. You see no evidence of, other creatures being present. Though I will hand it over to Vaughn, and if he was tossing or turning or however you want to flavor that, I leave that up to you.
So, definitely the bed seems in disarray as if he, like, threw himself out of it in a rage. And some things may be knocked down, like if there's, like, a chair or a nightstand or something. Like, he was probably very feral and angry when he woke up. So the room, again, it doesn't look like so much it was in a fight. It looks like somebody just just trashed it. But you also see that Branson is, like, at this point, close to a feral beast in anger. And I'll also
But
describe...
I see no wounds on you.
Yeah,
Mhm,
no
go ahead.
wounds. No wounds unless Sarah says otherwise.
Nope, no wounds.
But I will also just do this because will state that this is the first time anyone's seen Branson out of all of his layers of armor and just random clothes. You'll see that those like tear streaks that go down to his jaw literally go all the way down his neck, and then they split, some going down his back, which you can't really see right now, but then most of the upper side of both of his arms are covered in the same kind of sharp red scales, and they end in claws. So he looks kind of scary if you haven't seen this brand of Yanti. Where are you going for breakfast?
Is this a two-story or a one-story building?
It's 2-story.
We are going down. Would you want us to wait for you or just head towards the mess hall?
I'll be down there whenever. I'm going to take my own food. He at this
Do
point
you
like
need
now
anything?
No, you'll like see at this point he's like pinching his nose, like closing his eyes, like trying to force steady breathing. I need to. I'm going to try something, and then I have to put on my armor. As long as you don't leave the hotel, it'll be fine. Just give me a moment.
We won't leave without you.
Take all the time you need, my friend.
I'm curious, Branson notices that Rasman is like frazzled as well at all?
I don't think he would be looking.
Razvan kind of looks towards Humphrey and be like, we'll all talk later, kind of look.
Yeah, Humphrey nods.
Branson will give a nod.
And...
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, and I was going to say just like we go down, but go ahead.
Yeah. Branson will give a nod, wait to see them on their way, close the door, and then he's going to try something. So he's going to basically like go through his stuff and pull out the two halves of the holy symbol. Then he's just going to kind of post up against the side of his bed, like not sitting on the bed, but just flat on the floor against the bed, like staring at this thing. And he's going to like just think back about the few times he's ever actually heard the voice speak to him directly to answer questions. And he's going to try to center himself as best he can. And he's going to do two things, which first one is, thank you for saving me. But I need your help. You led me here. You fulfilled your end of the bargain. Yet, you lead me to a place where this, and he just jangles the two halves of the holy symbol, the perfect tool for my quest. I have found no way to mend this, and if I do not soon, it'll lose its power and die. If you can, just mend it. I'll do the rest. And he just sets it down, picks up his axe, which will be next to him because it's still probably like on the floor where the bedside table was. And he'll just tap it against the thing because that's basically how he does most of his magic.
Roll me a D100.
Will do. $18.
18. Okay. When your axe touches the metal of the holy symbol of Ravenkind, a flash of like almost a spark of blue lightning dances across one of the halves before dissipating.
So, magic happened, but unfortunately it's not repaired.
It's not repaired. You aren't even sure you know what happened just now. But something did happen. And you, as far as you are aware, you have been heard.
He'll gather up like the two halves, put to his forehead, and just go, well, at least you protected me. Thank you. At that point, he's going to silently just start putting on all of his gear and everything else, and he'll eventually start heading down to where he'll try to find where the mess hall is. But he'll also be just eating one of his own rations because at this point he's kind of on autopilot.
This is where I ask, is there anything else the three of you would like to do tonight? Or do we want to pause here and reconvene next session?
I think this is a good place for me to pause.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good session, y'all.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Was not prepared for the nightmare hour. But yeah, let's start going around the horn so everyone can get going. Zan, do you want to go first?
Sure. Just me, Xanalis Grim. You can find me tomorrow either at noon or 7 p.m. PST. I'm not certain what time I'll be streaming, but I will be streaming tomorrow at some point. Over at twitch.tv/XanalisGrim. Tuesday, you can find me over at twitch.tv/Edward Bosco around 6 p.m. for some more Halo 5 Lasso. So if you're into that kind of suffering, by all means, look for us there. Wednesday night, I'm either going to be streaming, Chained Together or Lethal Company with a few friends. Kind of depends on who's available. That'll be over on my Twitch channel around 7 p.m. PST. And then Thursday night, I am back on for Dungeon of the Mad Mage over at twitch.tv/MontyGlue at 7 p.m. PST, where you can find me playing a very sad human fighter who had a really good session last go. So we'll get to see how that pans out. But aside from that, I'm going to pass the talking skull to Citric.
Hi there, hello. I am Cedric. You can find me pretty much anywhere at Cedric King, and anywhere being Blue Sky, Twitter, not Instagram for now, Tumblr, etc., etc. Right now, what I have going on is a lot on my table, so not any commissions opening in the immediate future, but I hope to have some opening on within the month. Other than that, you had me here today, and I will be here Tuesday to our Warlock game, Pack Tactics, where we are dealing with an island of weird fish people with like 40k orc magic powers of belief. But other than that, that is pretty much all I have going. So I am throwing our totem of speaking to our lovely DM series.
Hi, hello. You can find me all over the internet at TixDixel, where I'm doing a lot of stuff and things. Like I said, this month I am busy doing big kid stuff. So I will not be here for No Love War Extra, but you can find me again in 2 weeks' time, where we will be doing this song and dance right here once again. Other than that, I don't really have anything new going on, so I'm going to pass it to Vaughn.
Well, yeah, most of the stuff that's going to be happening this week will be Pack Tactics and No Love War Extra. At this point, everything's been said about it, so I think it's pretty good. We're going to raid our friend and the person who made our theme song, Wiley. And, I just had a raid message and lost it.
Oh,
I'm trying to think.
I feel like it should be
Cerveza Cristo!
Yeah,
You
you know
won!
what? Yes, let's do it. Cerveza Krista. All right, everybody. Thank you all for coming out. We will see you again in 2 weeks' time. We love you. Bye-bye.
Bye,
everyone.
Bye.